All right. Well, I'd like to start by saying good morning to Terrence. It's great to see your face. I'm looking forward to seeing it in person, and I'm really excited about what's coming up here in just a few more weeks. Thanks to you and Mara for fighting the fight. We wouldn't be able to do it without you.
No, Steve, thank you. First off, thank you for having me here. I think one of our last visits before COVID was up at your company. One of the locations up there was really great to meet the team. Fantastic culture. We miss those kind of meetings so much. It's great. Zoom is great. Thank goodness we have technology. It's really held up the capability to stay connected during this pandemic. But there's nothing like sitting down and having some chili dogs up in Projitech's office. There's just no replacement for that.
You're right. The in-person stuff just is invaluable, and we miss it so much ourselves. Things are finally coming back to whatever you want to call it. But we had an anniversary celebration this past week for Linda Bernhardt. It was her 15th year, and we actually had a full house. We had 40 some people, and a nice celebration. It was just so nice to see people in person again. The personal interaction just isn't the same over the net.
And you can't see when I drip the chili off and stain the front of my shirt when I'm on Zoom.
Not as easy to hide. You're right.
But no, so yeah, we Maura and I have actually been out on the road the last couple of weeks. And we were having a conversation before you jumped on, and the world's still healing. It was quite a shocker for everybody. One thing that really stood out to me was the Maximo world, or Maximo world. Now, see, you got me thinking about it already. The Maximo user groups, how they really bonded together and created virtual connection the whole time. Your team with the more website, keeping people connected. It wasn't as if we all disconnected, and I think there's enough organic strength in the Maximo community to kind of keep it bonded. But that is not so for a lot of communities. A lot of communities did get disconnected. And are there advantages? Do I enjoy getting up at 5:30 in the morning and jumping on an airplane so I can be in Houston at noon? Not my favorite thing in the world to do. So sometimes, Zoom and GoToMeeting and WebEx and all are great. And again, I'm very thankful for the technologies. They carried us, during this pandemic. But I'm craving getting back together again.
Yeah, and I think the technology has been extremely helpful. Certainly, we might not have been able to do what you do or what I do without it, but the it's the people that kept carrying on. It's the persistence.
Yes.
The just you just didn't want to say no to it. It wasn't in our DNA to quit, and I'm real fired up about the fact that we're going to get everybody together here again in August. And again, I'm just so appreciative of all the efforts that you and Marv put forth to keep us all conversing and keep us all looking forward.
Well, I remember when we announced it, you could hear a pin drop in the room. Everybody's like, "What?" But a live in-person conference is so much logistic and so much planning. It's like producing a Broadway play that you can't decide in June or July to hold an August conference. Just couldn't the scale of Maximo World. So we had to put our flag in the ground and say, hey, we ended up losing 4 complete conferences during this pandemic, and our conferences are at scale. They're fairly large, and it was painful for the hotels. We have a lot of partners. We're a relatively small team, so we partner with an AV company. We partner with a decorator. We have so many vendors that depend on our conferences, and then of course, the relationships that you and others form at these conferences are the lubrication that kind of keeps the economy going. And it's getting a little worrying there. So yeah, we made a decision. We're gonna take the risk. We're gonna put the flag in the ground. the Maximo solution provider community, forget it. We just absolutely couldn't do it without partners like you and the others. You've been in the community since day one. What a powerful, what a powerful group of relationships that is. It extends so far beyond business. And I'm kind of rambling, but I want to just say one thing about that. I have to be agnostic. I'm sort of tagged as Maximo because of the work we do with you all at Maximo World. But our main business is publishing, and we're supposed to be Switzerland in that regard, and agnostic and neutral. But what's come completely clear to me, something you probably knew very well, is the depth and the experience and the knowledge of the Maximo solution provider community. And I'm not just saying that because you're here smiling at me this morning on the phone. You think about, there's lots of good software out in the market, and I'm not making a comparison to how they compare with Maximo or not, but there's a lot of good software. You'd have to give the world that much credit. But there's not many networks, there's not many supporting networks that can go back 25 years, been there, done that, got the bruises, got the t-shirts, they get it done. You just don't hear of project failures in this community. You hear project successes in this community. And, so when somebody's considering a technology investment, I had never really considered it before, but you should be looking at the surrounding network of that technology. What is the ecosystem? And even us to a smaller degree, Maximo World, there's an independent, event about it. It's powerful. It's a powerful ecosystem. I don't know what you think about that.
Well, actually, we pivoted as a company almost a decade ago for that very reason. There's just such breadth and depth of talent in the partner channel that both of us work with. People are very well experienced in, pick your industry, whether it's oil and gas or transportation or discrete manufacturing. We have partners in every one of those areas, and oftentimes more than one. So there's so much talent, and everybody knows everybody. It's very unique co-opetition in my mind when people get together and try to help a client with a large project. And we're just thrilled to be around the group. And I know they're all happy about being able to get back to Orlando. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we got to look forward to? I know you've been planning since probably winter time. What do we got coming up? Because I know everybody wants to hear.
Well, we're not trying to dig back to 2019. We're trying to dig forward to 2029. We're trying to create, the conference of the future. And even prior to COVID, our business model had been to raise the level of delivery at the conferences to what we call experience. Anybody can put together PowerPoints. Anybody can get a group of speakers together, and frankly, almost anybody can get together a group of solution providers. What we're looking to do is impact in a positive way a very challenging area. Yes, Maximo's awesome software. Yes, there's a great support network. Yet, I'm sure you would be the first one to say you have to get it right, and there's a lot to get right on that journey. And it's not the kind of thing you can read a book and say, okay, check, I now know it, I can do it. So we try to provide an actual impact through experience, because all we really want to do is advance people to a sustainable workplace, a successful workplace, a safe workplace. And asset management can be very dangerous if you don't do it right. And it can be very wasteful if you don't do it right. And it can be unsustainable if you don't do it right. So the big answer is, we're really upping our game, trying to create memory so you don't leave and forget everything within the first, 30 days, that you were at that conference. So that's one thing we're doing. You'll have to come and see how we're doing that. We're at Disney World, which is pretty inspiring when it comes to experience. Disney World's aim is we're specifically at there's trademark issues there, so I better clarify that. We are at the Walt Disney World Dolphin Resort. So it's operated by Marriott. Great place, but it's right on the Walt Disney World property. So they're an inspiration. Their aim is to create memories that last a lifetime. So we're sort of aspiring to that same kind of a thing. You'll recognize a lot of what's there, because we're not abandoning tradition. One of the things I'm really excited about, the team has created a daily morning show called Max Up Morning Show. So it's like a Today Show for Maximo. And we've involved a lot of people. It's going to be fast moving. Wake up, get the bloodstream going. And so we're pretty excited about that. We're networking. Although a lot of conferences have networking, we like what we're doing. We're really getting people to explore what they're doing in digital transformation. We want to begin the conference with a session that basically people are telling each other where they're at with digital transformation, because the Maximo community is a little further ahead than the general asset management, reliability, and maintenance community. So we want people to catch up and know. Those that are not, we want them to know that they got some catching up to do. And those that are, we want to hear what they're doing that's successful. There's a big world of digital transformation. What does it really mean in the Maximo context? And what can we do to accelerate it? And so, obviously we've got, great speakers to speak about what they're doing, but we want people talking to each other. So we've got a very unique opening where they're going to be able to network and talk to each other about that. I'm going in no particular order, but one of the things that I'm excited about is we're working with Boston Dynamics with Spot, the robot dog. And if you haven't seen this dog, just Google Spot the robot dog. They have, videos of it going down in mines and on offshore platforms. They also have
great
some
stuff.
Yeah, they really have some really cool dance videos even. We're trying to convince Spot to come to Max Stock and do some karaoke. I don't know if we got that done yet or not. So that's kind of exciting. They're working together with IBM Research. For whatever reasons, we've really hit the jackpot with IBM itself when it comes to we've got some of the leading thinkers from IBM Research coming. We've got the people who lead Maximo development coming, and they're not just coming, they're coming and they're going to talk to us. Joe Birdie, who leads the business unit, is going to come and give us the vision. We've obviously got the product people coming that are going to tell us what's going on with the new movement to MAS 8. In my opinion, very significant upgrade and change of breadth and depth of what Maximo really is. And maybe I'll pause there for a second because I'm running on, but when we first started planning Maximo World, we talked to a lot of the partners, and it was way early. MAS 8 was sort of out there, but it was sort of on the horizon, and everybody said no one's going to be talking about MAS 8 at Maximo World. Now I gotta say, so we designed a lot around 7.6, and of course there's a lot of users of 7.6 there. But I would say the interest and the amount of content in making the journey to MAS 8 is significant, and it is a major topic at Maximo World. We didn't necessarily plan it that way because we took the advice of the partners, but it by its own sort of force of nature has inserted itself as a prime topic of conversation. I don't know how it affects what you do. In particular, I imagine you're geared up for it and ready to go. I'd be interested to hear your take on, is it going to be a slow runway, or some people that have upgrade opportunities, are they going to go straight up to that? I don't know. I don't really have my finger on the pulse of how the audience is thinking about it.
Yeah, it's certainly a big deal, and I think it's a testament to you that you listen to the user community and kind of allow them to drive content, because it is front and center for everybody. It has been for us for many months now. We're part of the IBM ecosystem and have been working with the development of the Maximo Application Suite 8 for probably close to a year. And we're really excited to see it come out. It's a platform change. It's an infrastructure change. But the great thing is that platform and infrastructure then really opens up a whole host of functionality and capabilities, and really enhances the suite from one side of the spectrum to the other, that is going to have a little something for everybody. And I do know it's going to be a hot topic, and it's a great topic to be able to get people around, and especially in person for a few days to be able to swap stories. And the IBM team will certainly open up everybody's eyes to what all the new wondrous things that are available to us. I think the adoption rate's going to follow most new technology. You know, there's a chasm to cross, so there'll be some early adopters, and there'll be a little bit of a valley of despair there, and then the main crew will be right behind it, I'm sure, and it'll be a great adoption cycle, at least, and that's what we're seeing in our minds.
Well, I remember the first Maximo World that we took out independent, and I wasn't so tuned in to the technology side of Maximo. I'm you know me. I come from more the process side that Maximo supports. So in reality, if I look back at that first Maximo World, I think that was really kind of a reliability conference wrapped in Maximo. It was because I hadn't tuned in to exactly what everybody was looking for at the conference at that point on. But very quickly, the Maximo community is not a shy community. They let you know what's going on. So we did listen and we did adjust, and now we have things for the people who run Maximo, we have things for the people who use Maximo, and we have things for the people who run businesses that use Maximo. But what I'll tell you, I'm the most pleased of with the new Maximo Application Suite 8 approach is that, selfishly, I'll just say it sort of reflects our framework and our philosophy. Whereas, in our ideas before, it was a little more centered around work management and history and spare parts management and things of that nature. They have expanded the breadth and the depth of what is called Maximo now, to really reflect everything that we say in Uptime Elements. I can't really find a gap between where Maximo Application Suite is going and what's going on with Uptime Elements. What the distinction there that I think people should really sit up and notice is that the Maximo integrators and partners have always had excellent strategies for implementing Maximo, getting the most out of Maximo, but they're not always specialists in the processes of asset management, of the processes of reliability, of the processes around maintenance. They know their way around it, but their business is Maximo. Now what's happening is, and they've been making the move for several years, they're having to have a dual strategy. They've got the strategy of how to be successful implementing Maximo for the client, but I think they're starting to realize most of the clients need their help to be successful with the strategies that drive the return on investment from Maximo. You have to have both. You have to know how the heck to implement this software because it does everything so well. You got to kind of curtail it and get it in the right place. But then you need asset management strategies to really drive the capabilities of a sophisticated system like Maximo.
Yeah, it's very well said, and I'm not surprised you beat me to the parallel with the elements, because I do think that that's what's happened with the suite is now that it has expanded, it has encompassed almost everything that you've been preaching for over a decade now, and it's almost like they were built for one another. It's a great analogy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very excited to actually hear how that goes because I think the partners are all on board. IBM's obviously all in. We're all in. Now are and I think what we call the functional users, I think they're going to be all over it. I think they're going to, because then they don't have to bother with integration. They've got everything right there. I think it's really wise on IBM's part. The audience I'm real interested in is how they're going to embrace it are what we call the technical users, the ones who run Maximo themselves, because they're going to have to adopt some new thinking to really get the return on investment from it. I know they've got a lot of support from folks like you and the other partners out there, but I think they're going to be required to stretch it just a bit.
Yeah, there's some technical hurdles, and a lot of us are learning a lot of things about it, but it's one of those you're really excited to learn it because you see very early on the advantages and what it's going to be able to do for all of us.
Well, and at Maximo World, what we're trying to do is put together what we see now on the functional side, where we spend so much time, is Maximo is becoming more than a work center. It's becoming a repository for all connected data related to the asset's performance, all connected data related to the asset's condition. And some are, if you look at some of the case studies of the bridge over in Denmark and other things, they're going all the way back to the engineering technology to when the asset was born, and straight line right through to Maximo. That's some exciting stuff. And that's where we see the disruption happening out there, is literally connected data, connecting. People have made good decisions because they had Maximo for years about managing their assets, but now the data is multiplying not by 10, but like by 100 to 1,000, more so than a human can possibly deal with. So I think IBM set itself up great to have, like Watson AI, like the machine learning tools that come with it. They're setting themselves up for great decision making. We always need the human in the process. The machine is going to make a recommendation. The machine isn't going to actually, decide things. We need an informed human to do that. But because the data, Maximo is becoming the center for all these data connections. Now, what are we going to do with that opportunity? And we see companies making like wildly fantastic decisions that they didn't even know to ask those questions before, because they would never dream of those questions because they didn't have the data. So it's almost like learning how to ask questions in a new way. If you had everything at your fingertips, what question would you ask? Rather than, I don't have this, I don't have that, I can't get this, I can't get that. Maximo is becoming the library of all things asset. And so now what will you do when you have that? And we're trying to not answer that question. We're trying to pose that question at Maximo World, and then let people discover for themselves what the appropriate answers for their context are.
Yeah, you're exactly right. With the enhanced depth of the Suite 8, we're going to see more and more, as you say, an exponential growth in data. And once you have the right data and you have enough of it, then being able to apply some of these, business analytics, AI, machine learning, it's so much easier because you have the foundation for it. And the foundation's always been good, but it's never been as strong and as enabling as what we're seeing coming out of 8 going forward. And I think that's just going to exponentially blow up everybody's capabilities in terms of what can we do now, or fulfill some dreams, maybe, as Disney would say. Yes. The things they've wanted to do for years, now all of a sudden they can do for years, do going forward.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the things people that's holding them back, because the technology certainly is not holding them back any longer. There's no technology barrier. So what's holding them back? A lot of them tell us that one of the big challenges is data quality. And so they're waiting to clean up their data. We're saying, don't wait, connect. Because like you just said, they didn't even know they could ask those questions, or they've been dreaming of those. So even if there's some issues with the cleanliness and the quality of the data, just by the very fact that you're getting it connected, people are going to see insights, powerful insights about their assets that they were never able to see before, even with dirty data, so to speak. Now they're going to have the business case to go in. It's going to be a clear business case to go in and clear up the data. Whereas before, without all the connected data, yeah, it would have been nice had the data been a little bit better, but we got to manually do so much stuff anyway. It really doesn't matter that we're cleaning up data while we're doing it as well. Now it's going to matter. And so I think once people see, they shouldn't wait, I guess is my message. They shouldn't wait. Get the data connected now. Don't wait till you're perfect. Connect as much, find anything that's smart on your plant floor and that has, any kind of an output, and connect it to Maximo. And it really doesn't matter at this point in time. And then see what kind of intelligence you're getting from that. It goes from data, the hierarchy, it goes from data to information to knowledge and to wisdom. Well, it isn't ever going to move from data if you don't get it connected. You got to get it connected. Then you can worry about all the things. There's a lot of things you got to do once you connect data. get it connected. That is what's urgent, and that's really the center message. The theme of Maximo is connecting and reconnecting. Of course, we mean like you and I and all the relationships that are there, but we also mean connect your assets to Maximo, connect all your sensors to Maximo, connect your SCADA to Maximo, connect as much as you possibly can. At the end of the day, our audience, yours and mine, our customers, they're around some really high risk, high reward, scenarios, and those that make the best decisions are the ones that are going to be standing in the near future.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's the plethora of machine-generated data that's changing all the sensors, all the assets that we can connect. And you're spot on, Terrence. We just got to get everything connected. I think Tom Peters said it 30 some years ago. It's ready, fire, aim.
Right.
We need to just get everything connected, and I think some of that stuff will just show itself. It'll just be obvious. It'll be right there in front of us all.
Yeah, those are kind of. I know you're a business leader like I am. I got to tell you, I don't like it when I got to be a genius. I love it. I love it when data's right there in front of me. I don't need to stretch my brain anymore. I like it when
we look good, right?
You know what I'm talking about.
All good. I absolutely do, and I agree, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's we're having some challenges. The Canadians, I think I just heard that the Canadians opened up their border, so we're going to get we're going to get a caravan from the north coming down. I don't think we have to block them at the border. I think we can let them through and let them on down to Orlando. So we're really happy about that. We are a few are trickling in from Europe, but we've made it very difficult. For free agents like you and I, free market supporters, we're not wild about the government interfering with, business decisions around our businesses, but sometimes I guess they have to when it comes to public health and things of that nature. We're hoping that those ease and they ease because Maximo is not a U.S. product. Maximo is a global product. And, the U.S. tends to be where the great knowledge is, the knowledge center. But there's so much great stuff in Europe. There's so much great stuff in Australia. There's so much great stuff in Canada. There's so much great stuff in Mexico and Latin America. That's what really makes, Maximo World, the flavor that it normally is. So we're working hard. And anybody who asks us, if you're listening to this from an international location, you need assistance, we've got a team ready to assist you. We can't change government rules, obviously, but we can do everything we can to support your trip coming in.
Yeah, and 2021 is going to be a step change, but it's just going to be a step towards an even better 22. So we're really excited about it. We can't wait.
I will say we just completed, and we'll be releasing little bits and pieces during Maximo. We completed the 2021 EAM CMMS APM snapshot. We did one in 2001, 2011, and 2021. Congratulations, because the amount of Maximo in the cloud from 2011 to 2021, it went from 7% to 25%, literally a quarter of Maximo is hosted in the cloud now. I happen to know a company in Ohio that probably had a whole lot to do with that movement. You've really made it. You've really, it isn't a matter, I know you know this, I'm just saying it for the benefit of the audience. It isn't a matter of, buying some Google Drive space or some, AWS space or even Microsoft Azure space. You're replacing your infrastructure, you're replacing your IT in a lot of cases. That is not anything to be trifled with. And that takes somebody with some knowledge and some experience, but we've not heard any negativity from people. Are relieved once they get rid of that data center in the closet, so to speak.
Well, and the biggest part of it for us, despite the growth, is this concept of trust that you talk about in the elements.
Yes.
Security is absolutely everything. When someone allows you, when someone trusts you to take care of their data, it's paramount. And it really has been the driving force for us in the last 8 or 9 years.
Well, we're building on your knowledge of trustworthiness and security. I know you're ISO certified and your methods are, and we got a chance to see your crack team when we were up there in Ohio as well. We've got a consortium going on now, so they've got the work that your team has so graciously provided on trustworthiness. We're putting together what we call our code name for it is the Purple Passport. It's a new domain for Uptime Elements. Some of you who follow Uptime Elements have probably seen the purple Uptime Elements, which is about IoT and digitalization. And one of the things that goes across every element is what we call trustworthiness. We didn't use the term security because when you tend to say security to IT people, they immediately think Fort Knox, and maybe the vibration sensor on the pump doesn't need Fort Knox. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't need anything, but the idea of trustworthiness was to have the degree of security match the application. And the Project Tech team went layer by layer through the Uptime Elements purple domain, the IoT digitalization domain, and they showed us where the trustworthiness issues, challenges, and solutions are, or at least approaches for solutions are, in each one of those layers. So from the source data, from the connection, from the collection side, from the analyze side, and finally all the way through to the decision next to the human being side. So there's a really dedicated group, about 27, 28 people that your material is good and all the way ahead. They're putting all the supporting material around it. We hope to have that released. The release date, Jenny, our publishing director, is to have it on her desk on August 1st, so we can publish it by the time IMC in December 2021 rolls around. So, thank you for that. But, thank you from a reliability web standpoint, but I'm going to also say thank you from the world of assets standpoint, because I don't think we would have been able to find anyone else who could have inserted their expertise in each layer of that framework, because you have cloud, you have security, you have asset. I mean, you have it all going on there in terms of that particular topic. And I doubt we'll change one word of what you wrote and what you provided.
Well, that's very kind. We're happy actually to be able to participate, and it was an interesting exercise, because once we dug into it, we found out just how tightly aligned, just like your elements and Mass 8, just how tightly aligned our security really became endemic into the trustworthiness concept. It was very easy.
And Steve, I mean, I know you know it because you guide customers there all along, but for a lot of customers, that has not been a concern for them. And now it is a concern for them. I mean, they can't not have it as a concern. So, it used to be we hired maintenance people because they had some good mechanical knowledge. They'd been in the Navy fixing things, or, that's how we hired people to take care of our assets. Now they have to understand business. They have to understand security. They don't have to understand Java code, but they have to understand something about digitalization. They need to understand culture, people, capabilities. I mean, it is a new world out there. I know you've really nurtured a lot of people coming up to have that broad thinking, and we're right behind you. That's what we're trying to do with Maximo World, is saying this isn't just about work order management anymore. We're going to need to expand our vision here a little bit.
Yeah, and it's exciting to me too, Terry, because I think it's created a lot of opportunities. People sometimes get a little nervous about automation and technology and what it means for jobs. And I think that this environment that you and I work in is perfect example of how it's created tremendous opportunities for people to expand and grow, and new people to come into the industry and have an impact.
It's super exciting because, as I say, there's always been a range of how effective people were with their EAM. To me now, it's all the dream that we've sort of talked about. You should do this and you should do that and you should do this and you should do that. Yeah, you should. But man, it was super hard to do it when everything was disconnected. Now it's connected. So it's not that it's necessarily quote unquote easier, but the possibilities are so much better now. And that's change. And whenever there's that technology goes like that and change. People go like this, and And so now it's the job of you, it's the job of us, it's the job of the other partners, it's the job of Maximo World. How do we deal with that space in between how fast technology changes versus how slow people change so that they can enjoy this? It's time for them to benefit. You know, your audience and our audience, when they do their job perfectly, they're invisible. No one runs after them in the parking lot, says, thanks, no crashes today, no downtime today. You know, Maximo worked well today. The asset, thank you so much for nothing happening today. Yet that is nirvana. That is, you know, a boring day is the best thing that you know, Western society fades people into the background unless they're clamoring, you know, for attention. But that's what we need to guide people to: a boring, safe, sustainable, successful day.
It's a wonderful outcome, even if you can't see it.
I like that. That's a good one, Steve. Put one of those LinkedIn quote cards together on that one. That's a good one, because it is a wonderful outcome, and a lot of times people can't see it. Unfortunately, you know, when we see it, you know, there's a really sad situation in Florida, you know, with the building collapse. You know, sad situation in Colonial Pipeline when they got hacked. You know, we you know, the cliche in maintenance has always been, yeah, we never have the money for proactive, but we always have the money for the repair.
Yep.
You know, it seems like prevention and security, what you guys do, there's a lot of prevention. It's like, hey, let's not let this happen to begin with. Let's take this possibility off the table. Yeah, it's going to cost a little bit. You're going to have to think it through, you know, but once you do that, you're rock solid. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what you think, but prevention seems to be undervalued. And I think that's something we're going to have to change. We have to give up on prevention. Just because nothing happened doesn't mean our prevention didn't do well. We have to celebrate our prevention.
Yep, you got to start early in the process, and it's just like trustworthiness. You just have to begin right at the beginning. Where's the data start? And how do we make sure it's safe and it's trustworthy? And then how do we continue that definition of trustworthy all the way through the process? But if you don't go out to the end points and start there, you're only getting half of it done.
You know, the other thing is we're conducting, I'm not on all of them, but I've been on a few of them. We're doing the Maximo World Awards right now. And another thing about the ecosystem, I guess, that I'm noticing as we're going through these Maximo World Awards is we had one the other day that was going for a mobility award. At the end of it, I said, you know, maybe you should think about the Best Partnership Awards, because it was an organization that's using Maximo to deliver facilities management services. They had implemented a mobile solution, but what caused them to be able to implement the mobile solution is you had helped them move into the cloud, and then another one of the system integrators, another one of the Maximo partners, had helped them do their implementation. So there was a system integrator partner, there was you, there was the mobile partner, there was the vendor who's providing facility services, and ultimately the end customer. That is a lot of moving pieces to collaborate. And if you don't have like you said, I forget the word you use, cooperation or something like that.
Competition, yes.
You know, and nobody's trying to grab the other person's pie, you know, and you're all sort of aligned on the aim and the scope of the project. I was actually pretty amazed, because I would be nervous if somebody brought me a project and it had 5 vendors, you know, in it. I say, wait a second, that, you know, how are they all going to work together? And they work together great. I mean, the ROI was the minute the minute the live happened.
Yeah, it's really, those are fun projects to get involved in, and we're fortunate enough to be involved in a few of those from time to time. And the success rates are high, and it's the interaction of the people that really that I get a buzz of. I get the buzz from the people, you know.
So the other thing we're going to be hammering away at Maximo World is AI. And I don't know if everybody's ready for it or not, but with this onslaught of data, I mean, when you start monitoring 24/7 and you start really going at scale, a human cannot deal with that level of data. And some of the possibilities of checking for a change are beyond what humans are going to be able to. You know, they tell me at TSA, you know, they check 10 million people before they find something. The human needs to find something. You can't send an inspector out and they don't find something 999,000 times and then they find it on the millionth time. They're just not going to be sharp by the time the millionth time comes. But the computer, the machine, so to speak, never takes a day off. It's never mad at the boss. It never needs a vacation day. And I'm not trying to say it's perfect, and I'm not trying to say it is anything to do with replacing humans, but things that we collate, things that we sort, things that we compute, things that are decision tree, if this, then that, those are going to be done by the machine. If they're not already being done by the machine, they're going to be done by the machine in short order. If your job is looking at something, you going around looking at meters or something, that job, you need to upskill. We need to move you somewhere where we can keep your knowledge and experience, but we don't have you looking at meters or gauges, because that is going to be done by machine. The way that we're going to leap into the future is we have to corral this data. And we're only going to do that through AI and machine learning. The human just can't, and they shouldn't. Who cares? Let that stuff go. The job you want is the job next to the recommendation. When that machine spits out that recommendation, you want to be the guy or the gal receiving that recommendation. You make the decision whether you implement the first best suggestion, the second best suggestion. That's the job to have, not the job to go out and look at gauges.
Unquestionably, and what's going to amaze people really when they get to that point is the speed with which those decisions are going to come to them. The machines don't get stuck in traffic. They don't have bad days. And all you got to do is feed them, and it just comes out the other end, and it does so quickly that it enables you to make very, very good decisions in an incredibly good pace. It's the speed really that's the biggie.
Yeah, absolutely. And to me, it's, we've had a lot of connected data, although it's really increasing exponentially. We've had IoT. We've got now, with AI, it's the thing that's going to allow us to move. We think all roads eventually lead to what we call digital twin. We're not harping on digital twin. We've got digital twin in. It's really low adoption right now. Depending on the numbers, anywhere from 10 to 30% of Maximo users are either dabbling or fully in the pool with digital twin. But man, it's coming. It's coming, and it's coming fast. So we want it to be on the plate this year. We want them to start tasting digital twin this year. IBM done a lot of great stuff, and there are other partners there that have done a lot of great stuff with digital twin. We need to start telling those use cases. We need to see where we can accelerate towards those use cases. So Maximo is becoming the center of the universe. I know for a lot of people it was already the center of the universe. Well, for those people, your universe is about to get a lot larger. And for the people who it wasn't, it's going to be. If you're using Maximo on your assets, it is the logical connection point for where you're going to bring all this asset related data, performance data, condition data, inspection data. You've heard the stories of the operator rounds on paper and nobody even looks at them. The term pencil whipping, all that stuff goes away.
Right. It certainly does. We agree completely.
And it's not just the simple stuff. What IBM research is showing us, they can crunch some pretty sophisticated, complex. I can figure out when the best day to do maintenance on a single machine is, but you give me a machine train with 6 in it, and you're mixing it in with 6 different best production days. That kind of math starts to confuse me. I'm not. So the machine does that 1, 2, 3, and we should let the machine do that. Why shouldn't we? What are we losing by letting the machine do that?
I completely agree. Couldn't agree more. Well, you've been awful gracious with your time, Terry. What takeaway do you want to leave for people that might still be on the fence? I don't know why, but anybody be on the fence about going to Orlando in August. But if they might be, what takeaway would you have for them?
Well, come and be part of history. This show's got the lineage that goes all the way back to the original MRO shows, that got together. There's a community that's not ours. It's not even yours. It is its own community. And there's something really special about that. That should be valued by the users themselves. It's theirs. They own it. We're the custodians of it for a couple of days in August, and we try to work with folks like you through the rest of the year to keep it intact and everything. But come and be part of that. You're already part of it. So, being there then just absolutely confirms that. We're going to make sure you have fun. We got all kinds of good stuff going on. It is going to, I guess I would just say it's going to feel good. I would normally never say that about a conference, because that's not a reason to come to a conference. That's a reason in 2021 to come to a conference. It's going to feel good. Your friends, people who care about you, people who care about your work, people who want only the best for you, and now they have a bunch of things that can make it the best for you, are there. It's really not to be missed. I think it's going to be a division. I think if we track the people who come to 2021 over the next 3, 4, 5 years and where they go with assets, they're going to be a year or two ahead of the people who stay away, no matter how many Zoom meetings that they run. They're going to see things, and they're going to discover things, and they're going to get innovations and ideas. Even back in the old days, 95% of people found things they could put to immediate use from Maximo World. With all the changes that IBM's driving, that you guys are driving, I don't know how you do it remotely. You got to get there. You got to get grounded, get calibrated, so you can set your path to the future.
I'm excited, and I agree. I think I'm going to have a great feeling, if I don't already, when we all get together in August. Thank you.
Really want to thank you and the Project Tech team. We absolutely are clear we couldn't do this without you. You guys have been spectacular, and we're really looking forward to having a toast when we get down to Orlando.
Absolutely. We'll do that.
Thank you, Steve, very much.
Have a great day, Terrence. Looking forward to it.